And we're live. Welcome to Music Matters with Jason Tramm, and thank you so much for joining us for our unique podcast community, where we explore the triumphs and challenges of the performing arts world as seen through the eyes of distinguished colleagues. We have a wonderful group today. We have a band, an indie rock band, an alternate rock band, Vanilla Aardvark, which is comprised of Josh and Glenn West, a father and son combination who's been making some great music in Arizona, and we're delighted they can join us. Please remember to subscribe to us on YouTube and smash that bell icon for the most up-to-date information on our upcoming guests and topics. We love it when you like and share our videos. It helps us grow. We just hit 1,750 subscribers today, and we grow every day thanks to audience like you. Here we have the best in classical music. We also promote a lot of really great indie artists. So thank you so much for joining us on Music Matters. Welcome, Josh and Glenn.
Hello, Jason. Good to be with you.
Thank you very much, Jason.
Pleasure to meet you both virtually, and I really just stumbled on your music on Reverb Nation, and I really enjoyed it. The songs are great, the vocals are fantastic, the music's got a lot of chord to it, very interesting chords, just great, well-constructed music. So I just wanted to just reach out and get you on the show, and I'm glad you're here.
Very nice.
Well, thank you. We appreciate it a lot.
So let's talk about we got two generations here today. Was it hard coming together to do to find a style that worked?
No, not at all. So growing up, the music I listened to when I was young was curated by him. First it was just the Beatles and Disney music and Christian music, and then
for sanity purposes.
Yeah.
Cleanliness purposes. His mother and I are, filters and, when you're that young, when you turn a certain age, listen to whatever you want,
I have 4 kids. I completely understand.
Yeah. Then as I got older, he started introducing me to music that he enjoyed and it was funny, people assume, that he was, he's only listening to 60s, 70s, 80s music, but he listens to cooler music than me. Like, he's a huge fan of Bon Iver and Sufjan Stevens and that kind of stuff.
Radiohead.
But I'm talking about today's stuff.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, and so he listens to cooler music.
I don't listen to the music that I grew up on. I don't.
Well, you used to.
When I was growing up.
Yeah.
New music comes out, and you listen to new music.
And then what's funny is we both kind of, I would say, simultaneously discovered kind of 90s alternative music, like Soundgarden and Nirvana, Radiohead, Oasis, kind of
Brit
both
pop
sides,
stuff,
both sides of the the Atlantic Ocean.
Post-grunge.
Grunge, post-grunge, there's some great stuff in there. I grew up in that time period, so I totally get that time period. And, yeah, it's
Britpop was great. Oasis, Supergrass. They're super underrated. Supergrass is great.
So when did you seriously start playing together? Did you play together when you were young? Did you always know you wanted to be a singer? I know Glenn's a guitar player and you the vocalist and bass player.
I'll tell you his little
story. Well, no, talk about when you were young first. We'll go chronologically. Talk about when you were young and when you decided you wanted to do music.
Oh, golly. I don't know why. I actually started to have a thought of maybe it was my neighbors would sit out the front yard. They were from Kansas and they were kind of rural folky folks, kind of hillbillies. And I remember, this is only after the fact thinking about why, right? But they would sit out there and they would have a guitar or two and the mom would sing, just old-timey. But my parents had, like maybe your parents had. Everybody had the Columbia Record of the Month Club.
Sure.
And I was a kid in there. No one else in the house listened to it. And I'm the guy listening to Frank Sinatra's Only for the Lonely, or, the Peter Wolf Symphony, right? You remember that? Peter and the Wolf? That was great stuff.
I've conducted Peter and the Wolf several times. I love that piece.
Oh, yeah. Kingston Trio, we all had the same album because it was Columbia. Anyways, I was the kid in there just lying down on the carpet listening to all these old records, you know what I mean? And I just always wanted a musical instrument. My parents just either couldn't or wouldn't, probably couldn't buy me one, So I'd have little harmonicas and harmonichords and the crummy $15 drum kit that I'd buy for myself. And finally, my mom got $2,000 in inheritance, and we went down to the local mall, and she finally bought me a real guitar. So I just always wanted to play a musical instrument for some reason.
What was your first guitar?
My first guitar was probably a crummy yard sale thing that my dad bought me, and and I hate it when guys tell the story, but it was true. It had strings an inch off the neck, and then they just snapped when you tuned them, so that went in the closet, that was my first actual guitar. But then my mom purchased a Epiphone guitar for me, so that was a real guitar.
Good
So
place
I
to
was
start.
off to the races. Yeah, yeah.
And what's your axe of choice these days?
Boy, I hate to make short stories long, but I had my first electric guitar was a Gibson Les Paul. Like an actual one, which I would kill to have right now, and gave that away basically. And I always had what are called, Gibson scale length guitars, the 24.5 inch scale length, which are super easy to play. And Shredder Ibanez guitars and stuff like that. And one day, one of my guitar students gave me an Eric Johnson Fender Stratocaster, which is like the nicest guitar I have ever owned, and the most expensive guitar I've ever owned. And I let it sit on the wall or under a bed for 10 years because I wasn't a Strat guy. You know what I mean? Literally, the nicest guitar I've ever owned sits on a wall or under a bed. But then about 5 years ago, I thought, I might as well play this stupid thing.
Well, I think it was when we started. It was when we started doing when transitioned from doing acoustic gigs to electric gigs.
Right.
And he just realized he had to get his electric chops back up, and he decided that's the one he wanted to play.
Right. Yeah, but yeah, it's like consistently, it's there. It'll do the job. I can rely on it. So anyway, I kind of transitioned from a Gibson guy because Fenders were so stinking hard to play because they're a longer scale length and they're tighter to play, and they're just like you got to fight for everything you get out of a Fender guitar. So now, oddly enough, I've switched and over, and I have a $2,000 Gibson sitting on the wall. I don't ever touch it because I just go to the Strat every time, So I'm a Strat guy now.
It's good to have that choice, though. You get the double humbuckers or the single coils. They both have their blessings, right? They have their different. My son's a guitar. Quentin, who does the production for the show, plays guitar. So, yeah, nothing like a great instrument.
Quentin and I could probably talk for days on end about guitars and pedals and amps, not even scratch the surface. It's
a never-ending quest. My other son's a drummer, and we got drums everywhere. What are you going to do? We're always fighting for the same studio space because my studio is also the place where the drum set sits. So it's always like jockeying for position. So I would ask Josh if you come from a musical family, but I know the answer. That's one of my questions. What was it like growing up with a dad in the business who's a musician, and when did you gravitate towards music?
So it's funny. Thinking about this actually after we've done a few interviews and kind of thinking about it. It's sort of like he grew up in musical poverty, he was not surrounded by music. And then me growing up, with a musician for a father, I kind of grew up like musically rich. So it's almost like water, a fish in water. I didn't even really notice it because I was just living in it, So that kind of has always been a funny thing where it's almost like people talk about music in a different way than I do because I just take it completely for granted. You know what I mean? But I decided that I wanted to be a musician pretty early on when I was a kid. And of course, at first I wanted to be a guitarist, just like my dad. But I was not a good student of the instruments at all, which it probably is what always happens when a father tries to teach his son how to play an instrument. I'm sure that's
no plumber wants to come home and work on the plumbing. Sorry.
No, it's true. It's true. My kids all play different. They all have different teachers, and my son now asks questions on his music theory homework, but he doesn't ask me for advice anymore.
Which is exactly what
I will give him that, but he doesn't want to practice or learn.
I was not a good student of the instrument.
And yet I'm so careful because I'm a learned musician as far as theory and knowledge and all that stuff goes, and I felt a hesitancy in prescribing all that for him because I wanted him to kind of be intuitive and natural. I could see that he would, when he picked up a guitar, he would just kind of intuitively do things that were natural to him in his ear. And I thought, if we can have a balance of me and him, and I didn't want a cookie cutter of me, right?
Right. Yeah.
It's like, no, I don't need that.
Yeah, so as I was growing up, I finally discovered singing. Really not discovered singing. That's kind of the whole story. Is it really was just natural. I walked around singing all the time.
Not surprising. Most singers tend to never shut up. I was a singer all through school, and I had 3 brothers who were not musicians. Like, shut up, and I was always singing.
Yep.
Can't stop.
Yep.
I'll put myself on vocal rest, and then we'll be driving home from a gig where I just scream my lungs out for 3 hours, and then I'll just start singing a song because I can't stop it. I don't even notice I'm doing it. But so one day he was sitting on the bed.
Well, no, you got to back up because I would notice as a very young toddler, he would just be humming random melodies, right? And I think that's cool. But I immediately noticed that he would be altering the melody and working with it and adjusting it. And I thought, that's really intriguing. I didn't really make anything of it. I still thought he was going to be like a baseball player because he could swing a bat like a fiend.
Really?
You know what I mean? Yeah. Oh, yeah. But I thought, that's interesting, but then didn't really think anything of it. And then he just wouldn't shut up. He just kept singing all the time, and then he'd work with this melody, and he'd toy with it, and he'd twist it and manipulate it, And I thought, singing the exact same line over and over.
And my mother sang to me every night too.
That's true.
So yeah,
That's true.
and she's a singer.
Ah, she was a singer too.
Well, she's not a professional singer.
Not professional.
She's a church singer.
Gotcha. And that's did you grow up singing in choirs when you were young, or the part of your training?
I did a few church plays, but no, my first real kind of musical thing was one day he was sitting on the bed playing guitar, and I walked in and sat on the bed. So I would just kind of sit there and listen to the guitar sometimes. And I started singing along to the chords, and he noticed that I was following along to his chord progression really well. So then he tried to complicate the chord progression and move in different, more complicated ways, and noticed that I could follow along.
Right. I'll throw a chromatic chord in and see if he can track me. And he just dead on. So, interesting.
Something there.
And then he told me, hey, why don't you try and sing some words? And I think that was probably our first song, literally, then and there. And so it kind of comes back to that sort of growing up musically rich, if you will. It was just so natural to me because I that all had been in my head since I was born. Just all of that, the way that chords and melody were together. Listening to you play something and move it, different ways.
Well, it's exciting to hear, like when you can come together and make music with your dad. That must be really exciting to come together and to start. When did you decide to start writing songs together and start gigging professionally together?
I was 10 years old when we started writing together, and then when we started playing.
Well,
Go ahead.
I had a story because I thought of that. I think what was it? I said, hey, let's go busking.
Yeah.
Let's go down on a street corner in Tempe, right, the busy college town, and hit the street corner of Fifth and Mill, which is the hub of the college scene there. I said, let's grab an acoustic guitar and just stand on the corner and see what happens. You know what I mean?
It's the way to do it, right?
And so we started busking, and on the street corner, and collected some few coins, some dollars, and we gave them to the homeless guys when they came around. We didn't keep them. And then we started to do open mics, and those were painfully brutal to sit through. You know what I mean? For everybody.
It can be, yeah.
Yeah, they can be. But we're just kind of paying our dues, and so we went to quite a few open mics, and it was a very good experience. You get your nerves out. I mean, I got jitters because I hadn't performed a lot. I had played a lot and taught a lot.
But I was maybe 14 or 15 at that point.
Right.
So I was still very young.
So it was a really good experience. And just kind of paying your dues and working way up the step on the ladder. But one day, him and his friends went to a movie theater across town, and I went to go pick them up. And I'm standing outside in the court area out there, and I'm waiting for them to come out of the theater. And I see this young guy over there strumming a guitar, singing, and there's three little teenage girls around him, goofy, whatever, right? And I'm just standing there, and I'm going, and it hit me it was like, why aren't we doing that? Because I'm sure he was getting paid. It's like, why aren't we doing that, right? Because we were doing all our own songs, right? At the open mics and all that, we would only play our own songs. We didn't do any cover songs. So I said, why aren't we doing that? So that's when we started gigging from that day on.
So you guys have been playing together for so long that it must be quite organic. How does the song process work, and how has that changed as you've gotten older, Josh and Glenn?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny actually. It's actually. So obviously our levels of contribution to the song have evened out, to a degree. But what's funny is I've noticed since we've gotten more practiced and since we've gotten more busy musically, I actually have less. I start less songs because I used to when I was a kid. I'd walk around all day singing, and just have melodic ideas all the time that I wanted to try. And that would be the origin of some of our songs. And obviously, sometimes it would be him, with a chord progression. Very rarely, I'll come up with a musical chord progression to start a song. Very rarely. So that's usually it. 90% of the time, it's just he's playing chords, I start singing something, and then now usually I play the drums while we do that because it just helps us to have a more rhythmically focused
That's been
song.
a great boon. So instead of just strumming an acoustic guitar, he's singing. It's like he's on the drums and I got an electric guitar going. It's like, yay!
Yeah.
Let him rock out a bit.
Yeah.
Do you guys record at home?
Is,
Do you record your tracks at home?
We're sitting in our home studio right now, actually.
Yeah, it's sitting right off to your
So
left.
we've got a few guitars hanging up here, if you can see. There's more over there. The little black curtain, that's for our vocal booth. And then on the other side of that wall is our ISO box for
amplifier. ISO.
Did you guys put out you have a good amount of material over on Spotify? Did you record those at home or did you bring those to the studio?
The first album there, I'm not sure if that's actually on the Vanilla Aardvark page. That might be on Josh West. So our first album came out under Josh West because it was right after I got Voice. And we didn't want to switch names.
We'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
can't brush over that one.
So we recorded that at a place called Brickroad Studio down in Scottsdale with a guy named Scott Luder who reached out to us. But then everything on the Vanilla Aardvark page, was recorded here in the studio.
Very nice. It's amazing how the high level that people are doing at their home studios these days, what can be done. I mean, a lot of very big indie artists are putting out work that's heard by millions of people out of their home studio. I think it's incredible.
Yeah, and I got to give him credit for that. That's all him.
I'm
he's
only
really
just learning that. I literally have just started learning that in the last year. Actually, we're re-recording a song to get out on our new rebranding, just because we think it's a playlistable song. And it's embarrassing to open up that track and look at like, oh my God, I didn't even know how to use a bus. I didn't even know how to I didn't know game staging. I knew nothing. You know what I mean? I just like, oh, it's making sound. Yay.
It's like when I go to Home Depot, sometimes I know things and sometimes I get better at it as it goes.
Exactly.
Our processes for recording is sort of funny because, he's taken to it and he's worked really hard at getting all this information. But what's funny is he can't really retain it for that long because, we go so long without recording. So he talks constantly to me about, what he's learning while he's recording and so on and so forth. And of course, me being younger, I retain everything he says, so I have to kind of, so I'll sit here writing on this side, he'll sit on this side. I'm typically doing graphic design and social media, and then he'll sit over here and work on recording. But I have to kind of stop.
You have to pay attention.
And go, hey, aren't you supposed to gain stage that first? Hey, don't put.
No, you don't have to tell me that. I know that.
I do have to.
My son does the same thing on the show. He's like, Dad, you can't put up the thumbnails without the correct formatting and.
I got my process right here,
but
man.
The thing is, he's like a kid in the candy store because he's got, he wants to hear it with all the effects and plugins.
No, I don't do that anymore because I learned that the last time. No, I actually am learning as we go because I'm just reading all the time and researching all the time. But anyways,
by anymore, he means 1 month ago.
Yeah, so like, the Smell You Later recording. That was our first recording. Where I did it properly because I knew what I was doing at least. I had a process. So now hopefully we've got a process. But if I wait too long, I forget it. And I go, hey, how's that work again?
I got to tell you, the tracks I heard are all the singing is so good. The music is really solid. The hooks are all there. It's really good music. And, sometimes a little grit it helps the song.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Well, there's grit and then there's oversaturation on the master box.
Yeah, we've
or
the vocals are clipping out. Actually, what's funny is our most played song for a while there. The vocals are unbelievably clipped on the chorus. They just
because I knew not what I was doing.
It's like listening to it through a phone speaker.
No idea.
You call it a creative choice.
Sure.
But even so. I mean, that's a great tune. I mean, I've listened to it a couple times. I played it for my 19-year-old daughter. She loved it. Quentin's 22. He loved it. I mean, we all liked it.
Very nice.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that.
So you're gonna
Actually,
like our next one better.
our the skull here is the skull we used in the music video for that, hanging up in the back there.
So, Josh, tell us what it was like. You said in 2017 you were on NBC's The Voice. What was that like? How did you get the call to be on there? When did you audition? And tell us what it was like to be on national TV on that contest.
So they found me on the internet, just on YouTube, from some clips of us playing open mics, which is unbelievable that they would have found us and picked us, because I was not a very good, I really honestly was not a very good singer at that point. But they found us on YouTube. We went and kind of skipped the cattle call audition, went straight to the producer audition.
Wow.
Yeah, which was good for us, because I don't even know if we would have like bothered going to the cattle call if they'd asked us to. Yeah, it was, it's kind of a surreal experience, but I don't know. I guess we were pretty level-headed about it through the whole process, for one reason or another.
I did a ton of research to see what happened
Yeah.
to those folks. I had graphs and charts and metrics, and it's like, this could be good, but it's not going to change your life.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't even know how much I'm plugging my charger here.
It's going to be a fun experience, that's for sure. It was a good time.
It was really great, and it was good having him there, because it was sort of natural for me to want to and need to bounce musical ideas off of him. So every performance except for the last one I did in the show, was always kind of run through our normal kind of creative filter.
That's good to bring that in there. Have that
Yeah.
support system.
Absolutely.
Well, it's like when we're recording, it's like, I don't like doing it by myself. Two heads are always better than one.
Mm-hmm.
I love bouncing stuff. Hey, what about, hey, do you like,
Yeah, I
is
mean,
this good, this?
And it's not just two heads, it's just kind of because at this point we really are kind of like a two-headed creature, when it comes to music. It's symbiotic, so it's really, like the other day, I came up with one of my very rare times when I come up with a chord progression for a song, but of course I knew I wasn't going to be able to walk through the whole song, at the same quality level and speed that he is. So I have him come in and he sits down, and as soon as I play the first 4 chords, he goes, got it, and there we go.
Yep. It's a great team. Who does the lyric writing?
Both. We both fight aggressively and
That's the
it's
hardest
really
part.
it's the hardest part, because we're very, very message oriented with our songs, and so we fight endlessly over V's or A's or N's and buts. Just ridiculous. Frankly it's too much.
I always ask.
Significantly.
I've had lots of husband and wife, boyfriend, girlfriend pairings and bands, and I always ask, how do you, like, when someone disagrees and you guys disagree with each other, how do you handle it?
Poorly.
I tell him to go to his room.
Poorly.
You're grounded.
I think the shorter answer is poorly. We handle it poorly, but no, really, I think most of the time, what happens is we argue about it for a while. One of us wins, the other one gives in, and then about a month later, we come back to it, and our positions have changed. We've completely switched sides, and I'm not even kidding. I cannot tell you how many times we come back to something and are on completely the opposite side of where we started, just as vehemently. It's unbelievable. Sometimes we find a 50-50 compromise.
Right, the classic compromise.
Yeah.
Like, okay, let's split the difference.
Yeah,
and that tends to work out quite often.
it does actually. Yeah.
Ultimately, that compromise is the key to any lasting partnership, I guess. That's a good point.
Well, it's funny. Most relationships can end. You can break up if you're a boyfriend and girlfriend. You can, if you're brothers, you don't have to see each other. But father and son really doesn't work out. Because we can't really can't stop.
Oh, that's in the video.
What's in the video? Oh yeah, we're handcuffed. We're handcuffed to each other. The video for Even So is we're outlaws on the run, and so we're handcuffed to each other when they
I saw that on your YouTube channel. Make sure you
Yeah.
you subscribe to Vanilla Aardvark on YouTube, and you can also hear them on Spotify and many other places. Are you guys on other platforms as well?
Yeah, we're on Amazon and iTunes and Apple Music and all over the place.
Good segue.
Just when we say that,
Yeah.
we're gonna. You told me in the pre-show that you're working through a name change.
Yes, we are. Yes, we've decided we're going to change our name to the Fabulous Boring Brothers.
Write that down, kid.
Yeah. You know, Vanilla Aardvark was the name. So when I was probably about 10 or so, I would just. You know what's funny? It sounds like
No, you stood in the hallway.
but it sounds like something a kid would come up with. And the best part is I didn't come up with it. He did. I just said, "Hey, what's our band name going to be?" And he said, "Vanilla Aardvark."
Yeah, he was standing in the hallway, and I was in the bedroom, in the bedroom, and he said, "Hey, Dad, what are we going to name our band?" And about 2 seconds later, I said, "Vanilla Aardvark," and that was it.
That was it. You know, it's been a good name. We've used it well, but we kind of decided that we wanted something that we thought was a little bit more, I don't know,
What?
Yeah, something that didn't make people go,
To get
"What?
that response. Huh? What'd you say?
Did you say Aardvark?"
I've never seen an
Yeah,
Aardvark.
that would've been
They're
a
a
better
funky
name,
looking.
actually. Did you say Aardvark would have been a better name?
That's what they.
Do they have aardvarks in Arizona?
No,
Only
no,
in Africa.
Oh, okay.
It's Dutch for
Armadillo,
earthquake.
maybe.
No,
Where?
armadillos
That's in Texas.
Okay.
Yeah, we have armadillos. Yeah,
nearby.
down the road in Texas.
But you decided to stay away from the food and animal combinations. That's
Yes.
good.
Yeah. Well,
It's
actually, what was?
It's a reference to the film.
Okay. Well, we were driving. Sorry.
So go ahead. No.
Yeah, we were driving. We get a lot of our ideas just driving home from gigs late at night. You know, it's like 1 in the morning. We're like, blah. But we've been doing a ton of gigs, cover gigs, right? And we're doing it for 7 years, and we're getting ready to be finished with that. We got a date. We're going to be focusing only on our originals. But we were coming home, and I don't know how we got on the subject other than just moaning and complaining.
Yeah, right. Pretty much just sniping.
I'm tired. I'm gonna do that anymore. I got to thinking about the movie, you know, with Jeff Bridges and Bo Bridges and Fabulous Baker Brothers.
Oh, sure.
Have you seen that?
I have.
Okay, I know a few people who've ever spoken of that movie. You know what I mean? So good for you. But I felt like, I referenced that because it was, these guys were playing schmaltzy piano duo gigs, and they were tired of it. And they didn't want to do it anymore. And we've done so many cover gigs for like 3 hours at a time, 5 days straight, just get tired. And so I felt like, them, right? And they wanted to shake it up and do something different, right? And do what fulfilled them. I thought, well, that's kind of where we are. We want to spend our focus and time on our originals, which is where our heart and soul is,
Sure.
right? You don't get anywhere other than paying the bill to cover gigs, and they're soul crushing after a while. They just are. We express ourselves through our originals.
Yeah.
So we started referencing that, the Fabulous Baker Boys, and then we just started riffing on the name. You know what I mean?
The reason why it's the Fabulous Boring Brothers is because
Pretty boring.
We've noticed we're pretty boring, generally speaking. We're not big on social media. We're not good at
We don't
being
party.
fun or interesting.
We don't like fun.
We eschew any and all.
We don't own a toothbrush.
You
You guys are pretty funny. I think you're a good comedy duo, too.
Oh, we have an internal sense of humor,
Yes,
yes. But
yeah.
we don't get up on stage and we go, woohoo, is everybody having a good?
Yeah, we tried that sometimes. It doesn't work out well for us.
You got the Chris Farley reference, though?
I did. I love Chris Farley.
Oh, good for you. Good for you.
I just watched a documentary on Chris Farley. It was really good. It was on Netflix,
Oh, really?
and it was all through his interviews. And what a fascinating guy, interesting dude.
Yeah, really
Huh.
interesting. Was that the one with where they were interviewing like guys like Rob Riggle?
Yeah,
and,
all of his
yeah,
colleagues.
Oh, have you seen that?
Yeah, we watched that.
Oh, did we watch? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think we
did
caught
watch
it in a hotel once or something.
It's like movies. I must have, in my life, I must have had a fascinating life, but I don't remember it.
So
At the-
everything he does on his tape recorder.
At my point, I get to a movie with my kids. I went to see SpiderMan. I slept through the first half because I work all day. I teach at Seton Hall University, and I get up there and I'm tired. I sit back and the movie starts. Kids are poking me. Dad, wake up.
I'm sorry, you mentioned what's the university?
I'm at Seton Hall. Go Pirates.
Seton Hall University, and that's where you teach at?
I do. It's in New Jersey, in South Orange, Jersey.
Jersey.
Our basketball team is the Pirates, and they're really good.
Yeah.
We're top 25 this year. We're usually top 25 every year.
Hmm.
But
Who's the famous alumni from Seton Hall? Basketball. Who's the
we have a couple of them. Momoshkashvili is now playing for the Bucks. He was our big star a couple of years ago. He's 7 foot.
wait, is that the center? No.
Yeah, 7 footer.
That dude that destroyed the Suns in the playoffs this last year?
I think he's the he's a big dude and he's very, very strong.
Because I know the
from
Bucks
Georgia.
center, he destroyed us in the playoffs last year.
All I know is this guy was so dominant. Like, I watched him as a freshman. He was kind of awkward and kind of jumping around. He was always good, but then he got fantastic and worked hard. And funny story is music unites us in strange ways. I did a recording with a famous pianist in New York City, and she's like, my mother, she's from Russia, and her friend is from Georgia. She goes, yeah, my friend, that's her son who plays for Seton Hall. So I would never expect classical music and basketball to kind of intersect in an odd way, but you never know sometimes.
There you go.
So what are some of the cover gigs? What type of repertoire do you guys play? Do you guys play like Journey? I hear your voice in Journey, by the way.
Yeah, we do a couple Journey songs, yeah.
Don't
only
stop
recently,
believing.
Though, only for the last couple of years.
We revamped our set list just right before the pandemic hit because we got a big New Year's gig coming up, and I said, you know, dude, we played songs that we liked.
We played a lot of Audio Slave.
Yeah, we played only what.
Cool.
We don't really care what you guys want to hear. We're not interested. We just, we just want to play what we want to like. So, if we can find a medium ground, great. If we can't, well, too bad.
Do they say you have to do all covers, or can you add your originals, mix them in with the covers?
Some
places it
add
depends,
some, yeah.
but it's really a very limited number if you're gonna,
The audience wants what the audience wants, right?
Right. So I thought, well, if we still got to do this thing, let's revamp our entire set list. We'll learn 80 new songs. We'll learn what the people want, and and then the pandemic hit. And I was like, well, that was a colossal waste.
Yeah.
Back to writing music again. Yes.
Yeah. But we've been gigging on those songs for about a year and a half now, and it's super busy. So I guess you give the people what they want, they will come.
It's 60s, 70s, 80s, a little bit of 90s, classic rock, a little bit of soul. I do some Al Green.
Right.
And,
soul and R&B, a little
Stevie
bit.
Wonder, but mostly, just kind of 70s.
Dancey, feel good stuff, but
Sounds like a lot of fun. Now,
It's honestly,
it's fun, but after 7 years, it's not fun anymore.
okay, I get you.
and we get a lot of comments about just kind of how, everybody's like, well, you guys are all over the place. You play Radiohead and then Stevie Wonder and then Bachman Turner Overdrive and then Journey, and it's like, good lord.
That's a great set. I would like to hear that.
Yeah.
It's all great music.
No, we like the diversity.
Yeah, well, that's the only way we can keep it interesting.
Right.
Like we were playing with an ACDC cover band at a gig this weekend. And they're great. Don't get me wrong. But it's like, ooh, I couldn't play the same.
I wouldn't want to hear you sing ACDC. It'd be a waste of such a great
No,
voice.
yeah, he was pretty good. We actually do Back in Black.
We do Back in Black.
But the thing is, it's got to be the last song of the night, because otherwise I'm not. And that guy could go for 3.5 hours. He sounded the same the whole night, which is impressive.
Yeah.
He starts like a dragon and he ends like a dragon. It's that kind of
we started at
unique vocal color.
7 a.m. I think we started playing it. I mean, that's
7:55.
That's monstrous.
Oof.
Yeah,
I've never seen ACDC live. I've seen a lot of other groups live, not those guys, but they do a great concert. I heard they give a great live show.
Dude, wasn't that my? Oh, that was my first. That was my first rock concert. Yeah, Tim and I went to the Coliseum, and ACDC opened up for Journey.
Oh God.
That was my first concert, and
I thought Jimmy. Wait.
No, Jimmy. That was the first one I drove on my own.
Oh, okay.
Right. And we saw ACDC, and then my friend Tim Winkler, who I grew up playing guitar with, said, "Let's go." I was like, "Well, they're playing, a Wheel in the Sky, and it's this Journey. Come on!" I was like, "No, let's go." I was like, "Well, you're driving," so I didn't get to see Journey.
One of my alumni at the college at Seton Hall, ACDC played at Seton Hall before they hit it big, and Meatloaf.
And
Like, man, I'm in the wrong decade, man. I would have loved to see those guys perform.
Yeah. I love talking to older guys when I always want to know every band they've seen. They gotta have seen all the good ones, back in the day, 60s and 70s. They've seen them all.
I was living my kind of my I have two older brothers who grew up. They're like 10 years older than me, so I heard Yes and Rush and all the all that great and Led Zeppelin. That's what I heard when I was a kid, because that's what my brothers were listening to. So I was really gravitated towards it. And my son got to tour with John Anderson from Yes this summer.
Oh, wow.
He did a 10-concert tour in the Midwest and all around, and I had to fly to Chicago to see him because I was working on doing my gigs around it, so I had to fly out and see it at Reggie's. But to hear him, and like John Anderson's like got to be 75, but he performed so well, and he still sings well, and inspirational dude.
Yeah, he's got such a unique voice.
Even at his age, he still keeps it healthy. He knows how to. He's such a consummate performer. He knows how to, knows how to keep himself. He's like a crafty lefty now. You get to be very careful.
Yeah, what
with
happened
age.
with? Why did he discontinue playing with Yes?
Oh, I've only heard rumors, but the rumors are that that they moved on and they voted that I think he had a couple of years when he had some vocal troubles because he was going through something medically, I guess, and they let him go or something like that.
Let him go. Wow.
And I'm like, he wrote most of those songs. He was involved in writing them, like Roundabout and all these like great prog rock songs.
Yeah.
But he put a great show, and I was pretty cool to go see it. And I got to meet him. Good guy.
Yeah, it's a special breed of guy who can at that age still be singing like they did when they're 20 or 30. That takes a lot of discipline.
I
But
saw
he never had-
Kenny Rogers perform at my summer venue. I'm the music director at Ocean Grove. It's a 6,500-seat theater / church, and Kenny Rogers came and sang 3 or 4 years in a row. And that guy, they're old pros, those guys. I saw Tony Bennett in his 80s come into a show there. He brought the house down, completely sold out. I mean, you could drop a pin, you'd hear it in that. He was so good.
I would like to see that.
Tony Bennett,
Yeah,
man.
one
he
of my
could
favorite
really
albums
bring it.
is what he did. Tony Bennett did an album called. It was either Ballads or Jazz. I can't remember. Do you know that album? I love that album.
I don't know the album, but I've heard him sing a lot, and I just love his voice, his interpretation.
He just did like all the old classics. You know what I mean? Super old jazz standards. Might have been called jazz standards.
End of the night, it was a 6,000-seat hall, but with incredible acoustics. So he's like, turn off the microphones. They turn them off, and he sang "Fly Me to the Moon" a cappella. It was like
Wow.
real flex moment. Do you guys are you into jazz? Do you ever add some jazz to your compositions? Is that ever?
No, I went through because I'm old. I've been through all the phases of music, and I was into a whole jazz phase there for a while, and a fusion phase.
Sure.
Musicians phase. You know what I mean? One of the reasons I just didn't want to listen to lyrics, I think, originally. And then, of course, I wasn't a songwriter back then, so all you have is your instrument, so you focus on excelling at that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a crummy guitar player now compared to the guy I used to be, but I wouldn't trade that for a second. Once you write songs, your guitar is just a tool of the trade too, as you hear all the old guys say.
That's a really good point. I really like that. I like that because I hear some some of the great Yngwie Malmsteen, for example. The guy can play 164th notes with his feet probably, but are any of those songs like things I'd want to hear again? Sometimes there's a couple of them that are pretty good, but they're not like great songs. They don't hold up. It's too much showy. That's what makes someone like Van Halen so good, is he could actually put that into a great song too.
Yes.
That combination's weird, hard to do.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I have this analogy that I used to use with my guitar students. We all start off on an instrument that's dumb as a bag of hammers, right? Stupid as a rock. But it's fun. We're making noise. Turn it up. It's a blast. You sound horrible, but it's an absolute blast. And you're just bashing out power chords, right? Simplest thing you can do. And then, if you're someone who you get super knowledgeable and you go to school and you study, and get super knowledgeable and, I'm all clever and crafty and I can play you the Mixolydian flat 7, Lydian, Phrygian dominance, whatever mode, right? And all these super chromatic chord progressions, blah, blah. And I say, that's all great. But then can you get back to there where you're just bashing out power chords and having fun? I've gotten the backward, man. You just throw a guitar on me in distortion, and I'm having a blast just bashing out power chords with him drumming. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. There's that kind of that wisdom that comes with doing it in your life. I watch some of the older musicians I work with, and a lifetime of their craft. You don't have to work as hard. You work smarter.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can out clever yourself and completely miss what is fundamental about music. You know what I mean? That feeling rather than intellectual. Are you hitting me here? Or are you hitting me here?
Like,
I want you to hit me here and here.
yeah, ultimately that's what
I
music's
wanna
all
hit you
about, right?
But to each his own.
So what can we look forward to on the? Do you guys have an album? You have some LPs coming out or some singles coming out soon?
Yes, we have. So releasing. I set the date for the second. I just did that right before we started talking. I was putting it up on our distribution platform. So
For the rebrand.
So I'm telling you as well as him, February 2nd for a remaster of our favorite song off our first album called "Don't Make Me Laugh." Then our new single, brand new single, will be coming out. I don't have a firm date for it yet, but I'm gonna say probably mid-February.
Just as that process takes.
Yeah.
Mid-February? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Why would it take that long?
To be conservative. See, we haven't even discussed this yet.
No. I'm not gonna let that sit in the can.
All right, well, I'm gonna say it's gonna be out by February 15th. Before February 15th,
It's in the works.
Yes, we will have a single called "Smell You Later."
Yes.
Which is sort of an autobiographical song. It's tongue in cheek. Every time we play it, I'm worried people are going to think we're such like whiny losers about how horrible our lives are. But it's tongue in cheek. Just about the thing that every musician goes through.
Yeah, it's the amount of effort to the amount of return on your effort. It's like,
well, just people are like
but that's what it is.
Are you sure you want to be a musician for a living? Just that whole sort of deal.
Usually when your father's a musician, like I find with my kids and with my mentor who is a famous conductor, his kids, generally musicians don't push their kids into music. It's got to be a choice they make on their own. They have to love it. Yeah. You have to love the process, and you have to love to practice and be alone. And
yeah, he didn't push me into it at all. And the thing's funny, because he didn't push me to practice guitar at all. He didn't have to push me to practice singing.
Because you wouldn't do it.
No, I wouldn't do it.
You're like 3 days. Dad, I'm gonna practice all my stuff, and then you're like, I'm playing video games, leave me alone.
But he didn't have to push me to practice singing.
No.
And then when we started writing songs, it was like that was it. I knew that's what I wanted to do because it was like flying. The second we had an idea going. Sorry. So to answer your question, before February 15th, "Smell You Later" will be out, and then after that, by the end of February, we will have a re-recording of one of our other songs called "Cresting the Wave of Dejection." So 3 singles out by the end of February, and those will all be under the brand new name, Fabulous Boring Brothers.
The Fabulous
Boring Brothers.
I love it. The Fabulous Boring Brothers. I'll put that in the channel in the description. And will you change the name on your YouTube channel? And I want people to go follow you as you go from one platform to the other.
Everything is Vanilla Aardvark right now. So if you want to follow us, you can follow us at Vanilla Aardvark. And then by, I would say, probably, again, mid-February, everything will be the Fabulous Boring Brothers.
Okay.
Yeah, and the only thing that we're releasing, we're re-recording is, we're re-releasing one of our favorite songs off of our favorite song off the first EP. It's just expediency so that we can get Spotify rolling. And then we're re-recording a song that was horribly recorded by myself.
We just walked through all this, right?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
my point is this.
I just said all of that.
My point is this: is that we got like several dozen songs that we would like to record, right? But we're so slow at recording.
Yeah,
so. Yeah.
We're working on it. We're getting faster.
It's a process, and you work around the schedule. So it's great to meet you guys. I wish you continued great music, and keep in touch and let me know what's coming out next, and I'll put your next release on all of our distribution platforms. So send it my way when it comes.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Well, thank you very much, Jason.
Thank you, Jason.
Continued success. Thank you for joining us on Music Matters with Jason Tramm. Please remember to subscribe to us and smash that bell icon for the most up-to-date information on our upcoming guests and topics. Thank you so much for joining us, and remember, keep music alive.